incredible day as always. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are doing well. In today's video we are diving in to my what I read in July. Can we believe we are already in August? It actually makes me feel a little bit physically sick that we are nearing the festive season already, and I hate to say it, but Christmas is coming. I said it. Anyway, in today's video, as always, I'm going to be sharing with you all of the books I read throughout the previous month, but also in this video, I thought I would share with you guys my August TBR because I've got 5 or 6 books, I think it's 5, or it might be 6, that I definitely want to read in August for specific reasons, and I feel like, do you know what, let's put it in this video. I'm just going to share with you my what I read in July and also my August TBR. So without further ado, as always, if you haven't subscribed, please make sure you do. I hope you guys enjoy this video and carry on watching. So this is going to be in no particular order. I'm just going to pick them off the pile and share them with you. So one of the books I read in July was actually Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. Now, I really thought I was going to love this book. I started reading it and I thought, yes, this is a bit of me. It's spicy. It's kind of more of an adult fiction. It's kind of got just that vibe that I enjoy. Did I love this book? No. It was very, very bizarre. Like, there was a lot more spice than plot, if I'm being honest. And also you've got Rue, who you're reading in first person, but then you've got Eli, who you're reading in third person, which was very confusing. Like, I'd be reading it getting so confused and it just kind of messed with my brain. I don't know why it was like half in first person, half in third person. Like, that really messed with me a little bit. I am also gonna say it, and I hate to say it, but I feel like I'm just a little bit bored of the like women in STEM romances, because I just feel like I've read 3 books about it already. Like, I wanted something different, and this just was like screaming women in STEM romance again, which I get and I understand why people love it, but I just wanted something a little bit different, which is why I loved Bride by Ali Hazelwood. It was something completely different and out of her comfort zone, and I honestly ate that book up and I loved it. This one I gave a 3 stars, and I really thought I was going to give it a 5. Like, when I was reading it and I first got into it, I could honestly say I was going to give it a 5 stars. Like, I just knew that I absolutely loved it, but by the time I got to the end, I was just bored. The spice was just unnecessary, which is saying something for someone who loves a dark romance. Like, it was just too much. So I gave this one a 3 stars, and yeah, I liked it. Will I throw the book away? No. Will I read it again? No. Another book I picked up in July was Lovely Bad Things by Trisha Wolfe. Now, I expected to absolutely love this book because I've heard that it was spicy. I heard this like a dark romance, like it's a little bit twisted in ways, and I was like, I'm gonna love this. Like, this is gonna be a bit of me. Did I love this book? No, I did not. I gave this one a 2 stars, which I did not expect. I really thought I was going to love this one. Yeah, to be honest with you, I just don't know why I didn't love it. Basically, you've got 2 characters. You've got Halen, who is like a detective kind of gal, and then you've got Callum, who essentially is like this weird psychopath that got put in prison, and then all of a sudden, like, it was absolutely fine at the start. Like, I kind of got it, and then it was kind of like a forbidden romance situation, but then all of a sudden, like, some weird mystical things was going on, and it made me get so confused. But basically the situation is that Halen is trying to solve this murder mystery, and she thinks that Callum can actually help her figure out what's going on, even though he is like obviously a bad guy and like a complete psycho. So she gets him out of prison under like security and under like a kind of like, I don't want to say prison watch, but you know what I mean, like he's got like the ankle bracelet on, all that sort of stuff, and he's kind of helping her figure out the situation, and it's all kind of going well up until the end, where things start going on and it's very weird, like almost satanical. Is that the right word? Satanical? Like, do you know what I mean? It was almost a bit bizarre, and it just wasn't for me. I probably will get the other books in the series, I'm not gonna lie, which is awful. I know I don't need them, but I feel like it had the sort of vibe to go somewhere, but the ending just confused me. Maybe it was because I read it on my Kindle, maybe it's because I also listened to the audiobook, I don't know. Like, something about it just wasn't vibing with me, so I gave it a 2 star. which is a shame. But anyway, moving on. Next up, we have Girl Abroad by Elle Kennedy. So this was mine and Kelsey's book club pick of the month, and honestly, I thought I was going to hate this book. I have seen so many people say they don't like this book, they couldn't finish it, like it was a DNF, didn't like it, didn't love it. I actually really enjoyed this book. I originally gave it a 5 star, so I'm going to stick with that for this video. However, kind of thinking back on it, is it a book that I cannot stop thinking about and that I feel changed my life for the better? No. I'd probably give it a 4 if I'm being honest, but I'm going to stick with 5 because I've put it as a 5 on my Goodreads. We're going to stick with a 5. But basically this is about a girl called Abby who moves to London to do like a semester abroad, and she thinks she's moving into a house with 3 girls. Turns out it's 3 guys. What a shame. One of them I believe is gay or bisexual, and then the other 2 are straight, and you kind of initially think like, oh, she's going to be like have a tough time kind of debating between these 2 characters, but then there's this other character that kind of comes in, and there are some things that Abby does, I'm not going to lie, that I don't agree with, and that's why I'm leaning towards kind of lowering the rating on this book. But I kind of got obsessed with it and I couldn't put it down. I read it really quickly and I just ate it up, to be honest with you, so that is why I gave it a 5 stars. It was kind of a love triangle situation, so if you're not into those tropes then you might not like this book, but I really enjoyed it, so I gave that one a 5 star. Next up, moving on to a book which I absolutely despise to my very core, and that is The Fake Up by Justin Myers. Now, I actually DNF'd this book. Can you believe I have DNF'd another book? This is the second book I have ever DNF'd and I just couldn't do it, guys. It took me over a month to get up to page, I can tell you where I got to because I still have the page here. I got to page 187 in over a month, and I also broke the spine because this book was like just annoying me. But I thought, oh, maybe it's because it's not comfortable to read, like I'll just break the spine. No, this book was awful. I'm so sorry if you like this book, but this book was not good. So you've basically got Dylan and Flo. First off, third person. Yuck, okay? Every character in this book is insufferable. I hate them all. They are all annoying. They all just do stuff which is just so stupid. Essentially, you've basically got Dylan and Flo and they break up because they're not getting on, and then all of a sudden they want to be back together, but they don't want to tell their friends they're back together. So that kind of vibe, I was like, I'm gonna love it. It's like forbidden romancy. It's kind of like exes to lovers, like bit, you know what I mean? But no, boring, awful. I am gonna give it a 1 star for the half that I did read, but don't bother. I have got a reading vlog coming for this book and another book, which will be coming soon, but yeah, not for me. No thanks. Next up, I have Fangirl Down by Tessa Bailey, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I absolutely loved It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. I think I read that like over 1.5 years to 2 years ago, and when I read that, I ate it up. I absolutely loved it. This one I didn't mind. It wasn't my favourite, but it definitely wasn't as bad as some of the others I've read. So this one I actually gave a 3 star. And you have Josephine and you have Wells. And Josephine, she's got diabetes and she's struggling a lot with money to do with like her health and things like that. So she becomes the caddy for Wells, who is a golfer. And she's basically like his biggest fan already. So she's kind of got like the dream job. And obviously a romance does stem from that. And it wasn't that I didn't like this book. I think I just didn't feel myself being overly connected to these characters. So I was reading it and I was like, oh, this is good, like, this is a good story, but can I tell you really in depth what it's about now? Absolutely not. So this was a 3-star read. I did love it. Didn't hate it, kind of vibe, you know what I mean? Next we have Vacation Wars by Megan Quinn. I really didn't know what to expect with this book. I didn't read the back before I kind of dove into it. So with this one, you've got Tessa and you've got Miles, and basically Tessa goes to Greece once a year, or really often anyway, with her family on holiday, and a few years prior she saw this guy who she thought was really attractive, and she kind of had a crush on him for a really long time, and then one year they do actually manage to meet and kind of go from there, and their romance does obviously stem from that moment. And something about this book, I just didn't love it. I think it was just the kind of like 3rd act breakup kind of situation. Like, it just wasn't for me, and I felt like it was unnecessary, and it was just really cringy and really awkward after that point. Like, I just didn't love it. I gave it a 3 stars. Like, it was a nice enough read that, you know, if you were on holiday in Greece, it would be a really lovely book to read, and it did give me that like summery holiday kind of vibe while I was reading it, which I enjoyed. But would I say that this, like, the characters really drew me in? Absolutely not. So I gave this one a 3 stars. I did like the writing style though. That's one thing I will say, is that I don't feel put off by Megan Quinn's writing at all. I think just this story in particular just wasn't for me. So a 3-star read for that one. The next 2 books are both by Holly Renee. We have A King Kingdom of Blood and Betrayal and A Kingdom of Stars and Shadows. These are obviously part of a series, and I mainly picked these two up because they're both under 300 pages. I wanted like a spicy fantasy easy read that I could just devour in like 2 days, because I was just finding myself in a little bit of a slump this past month, so I really wanted to pick these ones up, and I actually really enjoyed these. I gave them both a 4-star because I feel like I enjoyed them both basically the same. I really liked them. The first one is more of like a world building. You've also got a lot of it kind of gives me like ACOTAR but not as good. So you basically have a girl who is destined to marry the Fae King, essentially, because of her marked skin. She basically is there to feed the Fae King, which is all very bizarre. And then there's his brother, who is like a 10 out of 10. We love him. Obviously romance stems from them because the Fae King is just not, he's just not a nice guy. So it's kind of like you think she's going to go with one guy but she goes with the other sort of situation. In a way, kind of like ACOTAR, no spoilers obviously. This was really good. If you want a spicy fantasy, this is where it's at. Like, this was very spicy, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I really enjoyed it, but I would say that if you don't like spice, don't read these books. I also love the fact that they were short. It kind of gave me that ACOTAR feeling, but without being 20,000 pages long. So I love both of these. It was a Fae vampire style fantasy, so you have both Fae and vampires in this book, and I just really enjoyed it. I really want to read some more kind of dark romance vampire books. If you guys have any recommendations, let me know down below, because I love these. 4 stars. So good. And last but definitely not least, the last book I picked up in July was Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. I read Fourth Wing last month, and I thought to myself, like, you're not going to read Iron Flame for a while because of the sheer size of it. It is so big. I actually listened to this on audiobook, and guys, when I tell you, this was just as good as the first book. I absolutely loved it. The ending, I like need book 3 right now because I honestly just cannot wait to read it. This was so good. I'm not going to tell you anything about it because it will completely spoil book 1, but what I will say is that I was gasping. Like, I listened to this on audio and I literally was gasping. It was so good. Again, I love all the characters. I love the world building. It's so easy to listen to. The audiobook is long. I think it was like 24 hours long or something, so I did kind of speed it up a little bit, but it was so good. I cannot recommend this series enough. Obviously a 5-star read. I just cannot wait for book 3, and I think I really want to read it like as soon as it comes out so I can stay in this universe, because it was amazing. So good. If you haven't read Fourth Wing and you haven't read Iron Flame, get on the hype. It's so good. So those are the 9 books I managed to read in July, and now let's move on to the 5 or 6 books that I have on my August TBR. Again, as I said, a lot of these are on this TBR this month for a reason, whether that be for a reading vlog or for a book club pick, so I will go through those as well. So firstly, for mine and Kelsey's book club pick of the month, if you guys didn't know, we have a book club called the Across the Pond Book Club. You guys can join. It's completely free. We're basically over on Instagram, and we have this group chat which you can be added to if you wish. But anyway, our book of the month is Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. I'm not gonna lie to you, like, I've had this book on my TBR for so incredibly long. All I really know about this one is about a hockey player and an ice skater, and it's quite spicy is what I've heard. That's literally all I know about this book. But what I can tell you is that this cover alone, it's just so cute. Like, it's absolutely adorable. Like, this is something that I would pick up and instantly want to read. So this is the first book I'm hopefully going to be reading in August. The next book is one which me and my friends Becky and Becky are going to be reading. We have like a little friend book club, which is really fun. This month it was my choice, and I decided to go for Off to the Races by Elsie Silver. I have never read an Elsie Silver book before, and I really want to read this series before diving into the Chestnut Spring series, because I believe this series came first. So I kind of want to read them in chronological order. So I'm going for this one, and then hopefully, is it a photo finish or whatever it's called, should be coming out soon. If it's not out already, it might already be out actually. Then I can dive into that one next month. So this is another book for August, which I am so excited about. I cannot wait to dive in. I've heard nothing but good things about Elsie Silver's writing, so I feel like I'm going to be obsessed with that one. Another book which I am going to be reading, I don't actually have the physical copy to hand at the moment, but that is going to be Twilight by Stephanie Meyer. Now, I have not read Twilight in years. I read Twilight before the films came out, literally when I was back in school, and I absolutely just devoured that series. I don't think I've ever read another book series apart from when I started getting into reading again like a few years ago. That was the only book series that I ever completely finished, and I loved it so much. So I am going to be rereading Twilight. It is coming up in a vlog, which is going to be so exciting, but that won't be out for a few months yet. But yeah, Twilight is on my TBR this month. I have to read it because I need to read the whole series by the end of the year. So Twilight is going to happen in August. And the last 3 books which are on my TBR are all for a reading vlog as well, which is going to be coming so super soon, and all of these I am so excited about. So the first one is Have I Told You This Already by Lauren Graham. I absolutely love Gilmore Girls with my whole entire heart. It is one of my all-time favourite series, apart from Friends and like The Vampire Diaries. Like Gilmore Girls is up there. Like I love Gilmore Girls. I love Lauren Graham. I've read one of her books before. I believe she has 4 books now, which I didn't even realise. So I have 2 of them. This is the second one I have, and I will be reading that this month. I need to read it because it is going to be featured in a reading vlog, but also it's so short. Like I could read this in a couple days, if that. Maybe in a day. So I'm very excited about this one. And then one which I am so scared to read, and that is Powerful by Lauren Roberts. I loved Powerless so much. I just devoured it. I don't know what it was, but I loved it so much. I know how this is going to end, and I don't think I'm quite ready to read it yet, but I do need to read that this month as well, because again, it is going to be featured in a reading vlog. So if you want to potentially see me cry, keep an eye out for that and make sure you subscribe. But yeah, this is going to be read as well. If you haven't read Powerless, what are you doing? If you love a fantasy or you want to get into fantasy, perfect book, so good. And the last book on my August TBR is Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. Again, this one is going to be featured in a reading vlog. I've had this book on my TBR for a very long time, and I feel like this is the perfect time to read it because it just needs to be done. I've heard so many good things about this book. I've heard so many good things about the movie, and I haven't watched it yet because I want to read this first. So I really want to dive into this, and then I can watch the movie. So let me know if you've watched the film, if you've read the book, which did you prefer, because I'd love to know. But yeah, those are all the books on my August TBR. I feel like I haven't given myself too many. I usually read around 8 books a month, so I have a little bit of grace if I want to kind of mood read a little bit. So yeah, those are the books I'm going to be reading in August, which should be fun. Hopefully. So that is everything for my July reading wrap up and my August TBR. I really hope you guys did enjoy this video, and I would love to know down below, did you like this kind of style video where I go through all the books that I have read and all the books I want to read in the next month? I'd love to know. And also please let me know down below, what book are you currently reading? Because I'm nosy and I'd love to know. So yeah, let me know that down below. Obviously, if you haven't subscribed, please make sure you do. We are on our way to 11,500 of you, which I honestly, my heart is so full and I love you so much. So if you haven't subscribed, I'm out of breath, my goodness. If you haven't subscribed, please make sure you do, because honestly, it would make my day. This is a fun corner of the internet to be on, and I just love you guys so much. So yeah, that is everything for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.